So good evening and welcome to another, NAV Life sessions. Today we want to look at how to get more from life, how to get more out of life, if you want to put it that way. And as I said, this session is a practical workshop session. So I'm going to ask that you have some device to be able to make jottings, make notes, whether it is your phone or you have a pen and paper, go back to the old school, but have something that you can use to take notes. That's going to be critical to our success today. I'll come back to that. Just let me do some housekeeping here. All right. So we're going to ask you to keep your mics muted unless you are speaking. And you're going to do a fair bit of speaking today, so your mic's going to be on and off. And yeah, well, most of us now are comfortable with Zoom, so we know how to raise hands and we know how to type in the chat. All of those things should now be comfortable with you, whether you're using Zoom or Teams or any one of these. You should be able to do that. All right. Our facilitator crew, we have issues. Brother Andre is likely to be a little bit late. He has some issues that he's addressing. He's scrambling, trying his best to get there, but that's, he might not. And just, so please don't leave because of that. All right. And I'm Trevor Smith, and as you can see here, I'm a member of the St. Andrew Church of Christ, who are sponsors of these powerful sessions to help people to navigate through life. I am the CEO of the Success with People Academy, also InfoServe, and I have a couple publications on Amazon, and I will be your guide facilitator today. So I think we can move on. All right. So let me stop this share and to move on to where we want to go now. We want to have a word of prayer. I see a name Grenell imprinted on my screen. If by chance this is my brother, I would love for him if he could just lead us in a brief word of prayer.
Let's pray. Most holy, righteous, everlasting Father, we're so grateful to you for all the blessings you've given unto us. Yesterday, oh God, we were so taken up with the hurricane. Today, you have given us a different mindset. We can breathe a sigh of relief because we're not facing a hurricane, but the result of a storm that might bring rainfall. We thank you, God, for your mercies. And Lord, as we go into this NAV Live session, may you bring back in a vivid way to Brother Smith's memory what he has prepared. And may we be encouraged and uplifted and be blessed for being a part of this session. Bless us now as we tell you thanks in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you. All right. So a quick heads up, in all seriousness, we're going to leave this session today. No matter how well you have been doing or how deep in depression, if you want to call it that, whatever your state of mind, we want to leave this session with a plan, with a strategy to step up to another level. And that only comes about by participating. So it might be a blessing, really, that we have a small number so we can actually work at what it is that we have to do. So please be engaged. I'm begging you, all right? Okay, all right. So what this is about is that I will be your facilitator. This presentation, I'm going to be you know, preaching at you. Yes, this is a session in which we're gonna together work on it. So you're gonna help yourself and you're gonna help others as we examine a series of questions, really, that's what it is. There are going to be a series of questions that are designed to help us to get more from life. Be with me, please, beg you. All right? All right, so we want to start with some introspection. And by the way, there is no urgency. If we have to take this to another session, we just have to just take it to another session. But so I really want us to roll up sleeves and get there. So I'm looking at 6 questions, but there are others obviously that I want us to just reflect on. So these questions are going to be there for a while. So if we have silences, don't worry about it. It's all right. It's just for you to have, well, for us, because I'm doing the exercise as well. So the question would be here. If you're working, there are studies that show that 2 out of every 3 persons are not engaged when they go to work. They're just going through the motions. It's a reality, and some studies show that even a higher percentage of persons find themselves really very, very turned off at work. It's just there. So that's one of the questions that just as we go through these 6 questions, you can go ahead of me and look and to see if any of these resonate with you. I'm really, really asking you to just make some notes so that you can actually see. And as we go forward, then we're starting to create a plan. That's what it is. It's a plan for us to step up, to get more from life. That's what the goal is. All right, so the other area would be the question of, normally people say work-life balance. I am putting it life-work balance now because there's a different philosophy about where work must fit into our lives. And so are we so immersed, was submerged in our getting our livelihood that we are missing out on life? Yeah. I'm making myself vulnerable today, so I will share you some of the things like, yeah, like right now, we have the Euros going on. We have one day cricket, T20 cricket. We have the Copa in going on, and of course NBA. So I am personally challenged right now because that's a full-time work to just keep up with these things. But yeah, so how do I balance life with my work? So those are challenges. But seriously, some persons are just obviously overrun because of the commitment to earning an income, and they just are not able to enjoy life or to even reflect on life. So this would be a challenge for them because they haven't actually stopped for some time to say, hey, where am I and what it is that I'm doing. All right. Is there a sense that you could feel stuck? That as we go to, if it's look at 3 and 5, they are pretty similar. That the next day, it's just another day. It's just the same thing. It's like a recurring decimal. It's just the same thing over and over. You just feel stuck, like you're on a treadmill. You're not going anywhere. Yes, you might be putting out some effort, but when you look around, you're in the same place. And if those 3 things are real for you, resonate at least to some extent, then are they putting a damper on your life? Are you feeling, I'm not bursting out. I am not glowing. I'm sort of just there. And then, sorry, somebody's in the chat. I don't know if that's helping me. Okay, this is somebody who, I should put that there. Is there someone who is like a thorn in your flesh? Okay. Somebody just send me a direct message who would qualify for that. All right, all in fun. Okay. Have you wondered, by the way, if there is more? Is there not more in life, from life? Can I not get more? Is this all that's available to me? Or is there more? I'm gonna keep quiet for a little bit for you to just reflect for a moment on whether any of these resonate for you or not. And by the way, we're asking you, please share. If you want, you can put it in the chat or you can mic up and to say, hey, yeah, I can identify with this. No big thing. These are, momentary spaces. And as I said, we want to look at that. I'm going to keep quiet for a while you just look at these and to see if any resonate with you. All right. Anybody wants to add? Maybe there is something else that you are going through. We have another set of questions to ask after this for introspection. But can you identify with any of these? Anybody on the call? Raise your hand or mic up if any of this currently or has. I have been bored at work. My first job was deathly. I just, I think I said it before, I've just been caught adding up figures that are never wrong. Okay, so Fiona, you want to share, please? Can mic up. She says that she can identify with more than one.
Evening, everyone. Well, I'll share that I can identify with the first one, boardorg. Yes.
Oh, sorry. By the way, did I tell you that your boss is on? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't see him. I don't see him in the chat. Stop messing with me. Right. Yeah, the first one, definitely. Yes, I am. Yeah, it's become monotonous. So I'm trying to broaden my horizon.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Any of these resonate with you?
Hi, good evening. Can you
Hi,
hear?
Alison. How are you doing?
I can identify with number 6, but it's more so I'm reaching a point where I know that it's definitely more to life than where I am right now. Yeah. So it's no longer wondering. It's like, it's very likely that there's more out there.
Oh, great. All right, thank you. That's a good start. That means that you're not on your marks. You're actually set and ready to go. So yeah, bullet start like Shelly. That's where we are. Anybody else? One more?
Good evening.
Charmaine, how are you?
I'm good. I am actually not bored at work. However, each new day for me there is just a change of the calendar based on my job and what is happening with management. Those two don't go together. So because of my job, I can't be bored. I'm a guidance counselor. So I can't be bored. There are always issues. However, based on management and dealing with it, it's just like you have to be fighting to get things done. So that is a big challenge.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ramin. These are insightful things, you know. That's why we wanted to do this way. And as I said, we don't have to rush and try and see if we can find the answers to everything, but at least together we can work it through. Romain, please. I see you, Raji, but Romain was up before. Go ahead, Romain. Romain, you wanted to talk? I see your mic open. All right, let me mute him then. Go ahead, Raji.
They trying to get back. It's more like they trying to get this sorted out. I'm trying to get back the question on the screen, Brother Smith, but it's more the second one for me. Where
Okay.
life work balance out of line. I find that because of the number of things that I do, I find that I don't get the balance as well as I would like. I find sometimes from a secular perspective, I'm fully involved for 1 minute and then like my spiritual life gets out of sync. And then it goes the other way from time to time because trying to juggle a business and be as involved in church. And then also where rest is concerned, I find that I don't get as much rest. So I feel partially burnt out. I remember I was talking to somebody just recently and the person said, I have a choice. I can take the rest with a stroke or I can take the rest alone. That was like a serious wake-up call. I said, whoa, I pray for the rest of the day myself without the stroke. You know, so it's something that I'm working on to try and be as balanced as I can in terms of work, my life, as a husband, as a father, you know, as a member of the church, which is very, very, very delicate in terms of getting the right balance. You know, so a matter of fact, and I'm probably talking a little bit about my sermon on Sunday. So if people on this want to join in, my sermon tomorrow is running on empty. Am I running on empty? You know, so it's something that we have to look at carefully in terms of the balance. So that's where my struggle is right now, work-life balance.
Yep. Yeah, it's an issue. All right, anybody else? Just, as I say, we're not going to rush through this. We have the possibility of looking at this in another session as well. But I think it's important. A lot of the sessions that we have had have looked at issues, problems that, you know, what we want to look at is a growth path. How do we get more from life, actually? And so this is a start where we want to look at some self-examination. And this is common to a lot of persons. Carmen?
I think number 5 speaks to me. It's like each day is just a change of calendar because I am retired, so I no longer have to talk about the job. However, is that I have to make sure I'm focused and putting things, otherwise days run into, you know, one day run into another and I say, what day is it today? Or I'm thinking it's Monday when it's Sunday, or I'm thinking it's Tuesday when it's Wednesday. So I really have to purpose myself and be, you know, I have to make a lot of notes to myself as to say, to tell me, you have this to do, you have to take care of this, even if it's not done. And because of COVID, a lot of things I used to enjoy doing outside of the home, just like free time, those are cut out. So it's kind of, can be boring sometimes. But I thank God for each day because I'm well and I'm moving and everything like that. So it's a lot to be thankful for.
Amen. Amen. as I said, it's more about questioning and finding out where we are. I wanted to suggest something that could assist us as we look at these areas and as we go into the introspection. And that is the question of journaling, if you want to call it, really just kind of documenting your day. It would be good at the start of the day to sort of, well, let me share where I am, okay, and what it is that I do. And I think I've done it in different ways, but I was especially motivated by an approach that Brendan Birch had. He actually had a calendar book that would guide you in certain areas, where you map out your thing. So one of the things that I have is a little notepad. They've got smaller and smaller every day now. But it's like I'm trying to find a page that I can show that is, but it looks like something like this. Yeah, it looks like hieroglyphics, but yeah. But on it is your date. Then it has a passage, a scripture passage that will be what would be at the forefront of my mind for the day. Like this one says, for whatever does not proceed from faith, is sin. And then I've used some sort of a graphical approach to making notes. So the next thing would be, what am I thankful for this day? All right. And then who am I to be? This is probably the most important one. Who am I to be this way? What are the behaviors that I need to manifest today? Today, I was supposed to be positive and to be strategic, decisive, systematic. And then it outlines vision. What is it that I'm focused on? And it talks about, some of it includes things like empowering and enabling and educating others and so on. All right. Then it has a bit, this is something I definitely got from Brendan, that relates to connecting. So it makes a note as to someone that I should reach out to, or some people that I should reach out to today. So in this day here, I'm reaching out to Jermaine. And the call was really greatly appreciated. Then my do's, what it is that I'm supposed to do. And then there's a plus at the bottom that talks about now the life apart from my work life, if you want to look at it. So you would have keyboarding, and if there are games around, it tells me which ones I'm to remember. And then I do some brain exercises. So that's basically the idea. And every day it's like that. So you have that. And then not as disciplined doing this part, but the Brendan thing would be at the end of the day, I'm to go back and look to see the extent to which I did what I was supposed to do. Was I like this? Was I positive? Was I strategic? Was I, so those are, that's an approach that I'm suggesting that you might take, because what that does for you then, it brings an element of clarity as to what it is, and some of the boredom would then go, because when you do this, I think you bring meaning, hopefully, to what it is that you are doing somehow or another. Over time, meaning starts to come into the thing, hopefully. And then of course, by keeping the vision part of it going, you keep reminding yourself that this is where I'm supposed to be. Yes, I'm here now, but that's not my end station. This is the trajectory. And one of the things that it say to you is that don't worry about where you actually are. It is the trajectory that is important. So as long as you're moving in the right direction, then you're better off than you were before. That's the key thing. Focus on the trajectory. Make sure that wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, that you're moving in the right direction. Yeah. So that's what this journaling is about, and it's helpful. It brings meaning, and of course you can then go back and say, oh, I didn't do this or whatever it is, and you can check up your notes and to see where you are. I don't know if you think that that's useful. but that's a little part that you can just do. But to me, the keys would be, well, the scripture is important for because that is your focus as to understanding where everything comes from. And then that the thanksgiving, the who are you to be? That's important. It's not necessarily what you do, but who are you today? And yeah, of course, your vision and your to do. Any comments on that? We definitely going to have more to come. Yes? All right. So another part of introspection would be the other side now. Maybe this is where you are. Thanks, Brother G. More introspection. Are you bursting with energy? Yes. Are you putting out a lot and actually making progress? But still, do you feel that there is more, but you want to claim it? So we had somebody who was there and ready to go, and your mark gets set, and they were set, ready to go. So anybody can identify with this? Where, whoa, they have to kind of hold you back because, man, you're pressing against the reins. Somebody wants to know where spouse and family fits in. That's part of life, I would say. Work life, I would think that your relationships, not just spouse, family relationships fit into life. That's where I would go. Right, so anybody can identify with any of these? Nobody bursting with energy? Go ahead, Barji.
Number two, I think I'm making some level of progress with some of the plans that I have, and just giving thanks for that. I've seen the assistance received and counsel received from others is definitely helping me with number two. So I that's something that I want to keep doing, of course, with a level of balance, because again, I'm just trying my best to avoid being burnt out while I try to progress.
Got it. Anybody else? Nobody bursting out?
Good evening.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, I can identify with number one. We have a lot of things that we need to do, but because of the pandemic, we're unable to do it. And during this time, there are a lot of things that we have put in place so that as soon as everything is ready to go, we can go full speed ahead.
Brilliant. Okay, great.
And that includes the Grinnell's 5K road race.
So you're running on the spot at home or running around your house?
No. We're running, but we're not running on the spot.
We have a strategy.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Okay. So let's move forward, right? Let's go forward. So let us look at this strategy. We advertised, we promoted that we want to try and get more. And the plan that I want to share, and there will be different approaches as we go through the series, would be a 3-point plan, which involves these 3 areas. One is to look inside, the other is look outside, And the third is to do something. Sounds very simple, and it is very simple. Let us see what we can do. And getting more out of life involves, a question came up about family and so on. It involves everybody. It involves you, it involves people that you work with, it involves people that you love, people that you come in contact with. As we are saying, you can, and as we go through this, you will see that we can in fact impact others positively. All right. So first look inside is the question of energy, right? And one of the suggestions that, the best predictor of future action is past behavior. So I want us to cast our minds backwards, as to a period of time when you really felt energized, where you really felt, man, why the sun won't come up, There's another time when the sun come up and you said, no, we're not ready yet. Then pull the cover over your head. But was there a time when you can't wait, as a matter of fact, you get up, in the dark because the day needs to start now because of what it is that you need to get done. Can you think of a time when you were in that zone where, man, you couldn't get enough hours in the day? You're an early starter. I suppose I could look at it from the other point now. Is it late? Some persons start later and go on into night, into morning. Is there a time then when you stretch the day? You try to get as much out of the 24 as in your waking time as possible. If you are there, then we can move to the next question. What was it that drove you at that time? Go ahead, Carmen.
5. Now, what I'm doing, I am sleeping in, waking late, and working in the wee hours of the morning because
Okay.
I feel guilty at 10 o'clock when I've not accomplished much for the day. And I say, oh no, I cannot go to bed and this is not done. All the plans I have, nothing has been checked off. So I try to make up the time at night. But then I sleep late. I can't afford to sleep late because I'm not going to work. But on
Okay.
the reverse of that, when I used to work and have children, those are the ones I say, oh no, it's too early. Sun is not supposed to be up this early. Or you have to jump out and try to make dinner before you go to work. So when your kids come home, they have dinner. Get on the road if it's winter, a half an hour early before the snow starts, and things like that. So you can get to work and not have to plow through the first snow on the road. So I've had it both ways. So where
Okay, cool.
I just do what I feel. And if I'm up late usually at night, so then I sleep in and the cycle goes on. And sometimes I don't like it because I don't think I get enough sleep, and that's not good for me as an older person. But that's how it is right now. I need to work on that.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, medically, they are saying, I don't know, 6-7 hours would be ideal. Can impact your health, but that happens. So yeah, the key here, what I want us to be focused on is that what was the motivation? What was the stimulus? What drove you and kept you going to want to maximize hours in the day? Yeah. And if you can identify that, can that be replicated? No. Is the situation now significantly different from at that time? And what is it that you can draw? So I'm down to number 4, from that experience that could, situation. Samsung, go ahead.
Them killer policeman a popping corporal.
Right. So yeah, anybody wants to dive into this? but just for yourself and making your notes, just think back at when you were in a high productivity zone, when you were highly motivated, highly energized. What was that? What inspired it? And how much of that can you lean on? What is it that you can take from that situation to uh, be useful at this point in time? You got a little more time to reflect on that, so let me keep quiet for a little bit. All right. Anything? Samson, you want us to share? Okay.
Hi, good evening.
Yes?
This is Raquel.
Yeah. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, the third one says, in what way is your current situation different from or similar to well, let me talk. We know that COVID is bad or has been bad for some person, but then there are some advantages to COVID, in the last year. I think I've been probably more energized than previously, because COVID has allowed me to work from home. Although the children are on online school, it also has given me some more time. I was saying recently that I think I have more time to think. Before COVID, the rush, the traffic, so sometimes I got home very late, tired and overwhelmed, and so one of the advantages that I'm enjoying now is that I have some more time to think and to slow down and to be able to try and find that work-life balance and many of the other things that we shared here. So that's one of the situation that's happening for me now, where I'm a little bit more energized than other times, but of course, like last week, I think I was more energized last week. This week seemed to be a lagging week, but I felt it this morning, but I'm not feeling very energized today. And I was, trying to figure out what was happening. But generally, over the past year, I think that I'm enjoying the ability to slow down and to have more time to think and to reflect and to plan for greater days ahead.
Right. Thanks, Raquel. I'm going to share something with you. So years ago, before any people talk about Zoom or wasn't even thought about, right? We actually had online academies, and we're trying to get people to do training and so on online. And we had one challenge. Everybody was saying, no, people don't want to do anything online. They have to, employees, no, you have to come in workshops, etc. And so it's interesting. And so for me, COVID is a blessing in one sense, but is a curse in the other sense, in the sense that now everybody now is crowding in into the thing. And then you have, everybody now has some online training and all sorts of different things. But that's a sort of sidebar. But one of the things I want to tell you though is like in 2020, whereas everybody was saying that, you're chatting, COVID is a problem, I spoke to more people in 2020 than I've spoken to maybe in the last 5 years, and all over the globe. doing a workshop all in Nepal, never even heard about. So I'm just saying to you that sometimes situations, this is not what is on the screen now, this is a sidebar. You can swim upstream, basically, which is what it is that you might have what seems to be an unfavorable situation, but out of that situation, you can actually make progress. So in some instances, I think Wayne is saying here that COVID, is a barrier, but within that, there is a chance to step up and to actually get more from life, even under the crisis. So that's a thought. But yeah, so the other thing would be to look at your interests. And this, I think, has implications for like your career paths and what it is that you can channel. Believe me, maybe I should have said this before, but sometimes when we look at life and we want to step up or to, we tend to look outside of ourselves. We're trying to think of, whether somebody is going to help us or what's going to change, maybe I get a promotion, or there are things we tend to look outside for that uplift, for the new break, for something better to happen. And so we pray about it, and prayer is a wonderful thing to do. But the prayer is more about something happening for us, something happening to us. Where we want to focus on now, and this is why we are saying look inside first, is that we need to look at what can come out of us. And there are a number of reasons why it is more important to focus on the inside. One of them, the obvious one, is sustainability. That once it's coming from inside, they can't take it away from you. People always say, boy, give me education because they can't take away from that, they take it away from me. So those are some of the things that we want to look at. If you are resilient, which is the big buzzword going around, organizations are saying, look, if we had been prepared, we could have, done better through the pandemic. So resilience is an important factor. So the next crisis that comes, let us make sure that we are in a position where we can better find our way, navigate through that. And so the key is, are we looking to be resilient internally from our own resources without expecting that something is going to come from outside and make our situation better? Critical. You have control over it. As we always say, you can't control anybody else, but you can control what comes from you. You can control yourself. So it is important to then look at how can we build resilience from inside? How can we put ourselves in a position to get more from life from our own resources as against depending on others or expecting that others will bring that. All right, so that is the preface to this part of the exercise. And one of the things that I'm suggesting I will do is, let's just go back again. Let's look at your hobbies. Just go back to early ages, early stage, or whatever. What is it that you used to do? Here's a big question that I always ask as well. As maybe you're getting on further, coming up in age, not old, is there something that people look to you for? Your friends say, hey, I have this question, and they look to you. Or they need to get this done, they look to you. Think about those kinds of things. At what point and in what areas were you a point of reference? In all humility, look at areas where you think that you had a step up, you were ahead of your colleagues, people of your age group, or people in the group that you are in, whatever, that kind of cohort. What are the areas that you think you were in the top 10%? Maybe number one. You don't have to be number one, but where do you think that you were ahead of the majority of persons in your circumstances? Right now, I'm doing, as I say, I'm doing this brain HQ thing, and believe me, some of the exercises, I find that I am, they compare it, and like 75% of people my age and my stage, are better at it, and I'm saying, no, I can't live with this. I can't live with this. Yeah, okay. So I have a few that I'm up in the 10% at the top. Whoever it is that's using it, but it's a guide. It helps you to see where you are, and then to there are two approaches. One of them is for me to see how can I improve in those 25% areas. But that's strategy should not be by itself, in the sense that I should also work at making sure that I maintain my 90% scores and get better. So you have to balance it, because you could actually delve all your time into working on areas that it's not your strengths. You're not likely to be highly successful in it. So for example, if you look at a Usain Bolt, yeah, okay, I'm gonna practice some stats, but if I spend all my time doing that instead of developing my top end speed, I'm not going to be where I ought to be. So you have to also focus on your strengths. So questions as to like hobbies, things that you feel that you were better at, things that you were more comfortable doing. Just reflect on that. And are you still pursuing those things? Or have you left them behind? Yeah, some of the things you have to leave behind because maybe physical conditions and so on. But what about those things that you could physically still do? Are you there? What have become of your hobbies, things that you were good at? What have become of your areas in which people sought you out for advice or for to consult with you because they figure that you have insights that are of value? Can any of those things be rekindled, be beefed up today? And if that were so, would they make a difference? Could they provide you with an avenue for getting more from life, which is basically what it is that we're talking about today? And if so, what do you need to do in order to rekindle, in order to beef up those areas? Anybody has any things? So as I'm saying, I'm also making myself vulnerable to set the stage so that you can actually come on. So for me, right, so I love to create content and write and share information. I suspect that people who know me by now know that that's it. But the audience is limited and so on. And so one of the things that has been on my mind is that, why don't you do the legwork, the necessary thing, and have a podcast where you can reach more people more frequently at your own, So yeah, but I keep putting it off and maybe, that's not for me or whatever. But that's an area in which, and you could actually monetize that. So maybe I could actually get more from life by channeling this comfort area, creating content, spend some more time developing content, either for sale or for whatever. That's something that I could bury down on, that I enjoy doing. and that has the possibility because people need more information. There's a whole lot of avenues now, vehicles where people seem to want information. So that's one possibility. Love to get at least one person to share a hobby or something that could be, or they are, or they have been burnishing. No, and they're getting more from life. I'm looking at my brother who has a driving school and who had an interest in vehicles and so on and so on. And I see a channeling of those interests into a viable business.
Let me speak then, Brother Smith.
Oh, sorry, Brother Gwenel, yeah, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I really want to share, it's not just by the prompting. I honestly think sometimes we don't fully utilize the talents we have. Of course, when I was working at Kiblan Wireless, I thought I would have been there until my position, I would be retired. But the company saw it fit to send me home early with a little money to start a business. You know, sometimes the blessing comes in different ways. So my take on this is whatever talents we have, we need to see how best we can actually use it to take care of yourself, take care of your family. Because when I was made redundant, of course, my family was still fairly young. And based on my training and my experience, I said I must can start something with that. So hence, I actually started servicing motor vehicles based on my automotive training and teaching people to drive at the same time because the company had sent me abroad to be trained. So I decided I'm going to utilize both talents. I was actually even doing vehicle, just expanding this to share for the benefit of those who are listening. Because sometimes we have talents we don't even realize that we can use it and monetize it. Because based on my automotive experience, I started doing vehicle checks for people who are buying vehicles. Once you're buying a new vehicle, you could just call Grenell's and you don't have to go and let the salesperson tell you anything. I will go check the vehicle for you inside and out, drive it, and give you a report on it. And if you want me to also negotiate the figure, so if they were asking $10 and you want me to negotiate, all you do, give me 50% of whatever is taken off. The first person did it for me. They said, no, but we can't give you 25,000 because I got out 50,000. And suddenly I said, all right, no worries, give the person the 50 rather than you take 25 and I take 25. But that just goes to show that sometimes we have something that's as simple as that we could use to make a difference and start even a business. Because there's right now, there's a real business, I think, for people to do vehicle checks for prospective purchasers. Rather than you just go and the salesperson tell you something, you could get an expert at a minimum fee and just do the checks for you, and then you can decide whether or not your buy is a good buy. And of course, I switched all of that, drop all of that for the driving school, and I've found that that has worked because you don't need a lot of capital, you just need one car and get going rather than start a garage that you need computers to diagnose stuff, you need a place, a vehicle, and it works. So my thing is, whatever your talent, just stop a while and even hobbies and see how you can do something that you enjoy doing and help people. Let me give you an example. Start of COVID, things start to really, really go down as it relates to the day-to-day teaching of people to drive because people are saying, boy, you know, I'm going to sit so close to the instructor that you cannot have 6 feet between you and the student in a car, you know, and we're just wondering what on earth we're going to do. And then companies start to call and said, do you do online training? I said, to teach people to drive? I said, whoa. However, right now we're doing 6 hours online training for some of the bigger companies and far less effort, far less thing to spend on sitting around a computer and collecting the same money. You know, They are blessings that sometimes we don't even stop to count, but we can do things. We just have to be willing to use our creativity that we use to even start other things to bring, bring in that and take care of your family. And it's something that if I may just by extension, the church need to look at in terms of how we can use this given situation to reach people using our creativity. That's it from me, sir.
No, thanks. Appreciate it much. Let me share as well. Some of us doodle, like in a meeting and you're doing doodle, etc. I know someone who started out with that and now has a side opportunity in terms of canvases with nice, believe me, artwork, it's a sideline, nice stuff that can be framed and nice canvas, that you go to art galleries and pay your money for. So it's a relaxation, it's there. So I'm just saying that don't necessarily think. I think also maybe people can cook, maybe, you're good at baking, that's something that you could look at. Needlepoint, I'm just saying, just look at what skills you have or the propensity to be able to function effectively doing certain things. Let us even move again now to a different thing. Maybe you have a little space beside your house or at the back of your house where you could actually do some gardening. Who knows? You might not be able to produce enough to sell a lot, but you could also reduce your grocery bill, which is the same thing, So I'm not saying, how do we get more? But let us move it out of money. Getting more is not necessarily just financial. Getting more can be how you feel. What is it that you're getting out of life? That experience that you're getting. So those are other areas that you can look at then. How do you double down with your relationship? How do you double down with your spiritual growth? All of those other possibilities. We're just talking about more. Go ahead, Brother Chi.
One other thing that when I decided to have started as well, Brother Smith, and others, is how I can help others to be employed. One of my dreams was to provide employment for others, rather than just for myself, where, especially members of the church and others could get a job to my, starting something, so that I think is also important. As much as, you want to take care of yourself, take care of your family, when you can provide employment for somebody to do the same thing, it gives you a sense of satisfaction that money can't buy. So that's another reason some of us can probably expand our horizon to help others.
Got it? Coming up with that afterwards as well. All right, so let's look at your strengths as well. All right. Again, we're still looking inside now to see how can we get more out of life from inside out, as against looking to for others. And we will look to others as well, but from an inside out situation, what are your most appealing qualities? What is it that when you look at yourself, and again, this is a self-examination, it's not arrogance, but it's also not overriding humility. Is really an honest look to say, well, okay, I think that this works. When I look around me, I think that I have an edge here. I'm way behind over here, etc. Right? So this is like an inventory of your assets. What is it that you have that is appealing? What are some of the assets that you have? And your assets, by the way, can be your connections. So yeah, I'm not confusing myself when I'm saying look inside, but you still want to talk about people. Yes, it could be that you have an asset in that you went to school with somebody or you had a connection with somebody that you have not kept pace with. And if you actually were to renew that connection, you could actually find that you can get more from life. And again, we're not talking just money. It could be that you actually went to school with, somebody. Let us say you're single, um, and you went to school with somebody. You got on very well, but you haven't connected for a long time. And you're saying, okay, let me check on Facebook if Mary is still, around. And you connect and find Mary has been wondering what's happening to you, or vice versa. And you connect, and then, here's the relationship that you wanted all your life. All I'm saying is that let us, as we look at more from life, not just money, what is it, what assets, what is it that you have that could actually open up doors of possibility for you? Brand new experiences, satisfying experiences that you have. Yeah. So in the midst of all of these things, so sometimes if we're confused and we're really stressed out, etc., just stop for a while, come off the treadmill for a while and just look at it and to see, okay, this is where I am. Again, get your paper and start to make a little note. Say, okay, fine, here are my liabilities if you want to do that, and do up a T form, and on the left you put your whatever. So that's all I'm just saying. Just list your assets as well. And think about assets. Anything that you have going for you is an asset. Anything that you have going for you is an asset. So do that exercise in the midst of your turmoil, or in the midst of your high flying. Also look at, is there some other asset that I have that could help me to fly even higher? Huh? So what area is missing? What is it that you could do to bring one other area, something that is not at the forefront right now? What is it that you could do to bring greater satisfaction from this aspect of your life? It's a question that I want us to engage in. Remember, this exercise is not a lecture exercise, it's an introspection, is work that we are supposed to do. And by the way, I'm also just asking the questions. If somebody has some suggestions as to what people could do, I'm happy to accommodate that. Right? So, so the question is that, yeah, is there something that could add value in terms of your experience, in terms of what it is that you're getting out of life? What if you worked on that? What if you made a determined effort to spend more time looking at that aspect of your life? What would it look like? See if you could come up with a step-by-step plan around that, and to focus then on the outcome. Where would that leave me if that's where it is? And maybe you work back. Wow, wouldn't it be great if so-and-so? And then how can I make that actually happen? And you can work backwards. Yes? Is this going somewhere for anybody? Is this meaningful, helpful? Are you working as we are speaking? Or are you just listening? This is not a listening session. This is a working session where you really are deep into reflection with respect to the questions. All right. So we have at least opened the door for you to look inside, right? And you can see how the breadth of looking inside. Just go back again, spend some more time reflecting. But we also want to look outside. Want to look outside. And I want to start with the premise that sometimes when we examine ourselves inside, what is happening inside, we find that there are some things missing. We want some more of connection here. We want more of this. We want all sorts of different things that negate the fulsomeness of the experience that we would like from life. And we can see it. We identify the gaps. We see that we would want more of this. We crave more of that, or it would make a huge difference if we had more of that, because that's missing from our lives. And the philosophy that I want to share here, which really might actually sound crazy, is that you should seek to provide that to others. Let me say that again. The thing that is missing in your life that you would want, seek to provide it to someone else. How can you? I don't make any sense. I don't make any sense. If I don't have it, how can I give it? Well, that's how it actually works. We have a powerful scriptural one. The widow, Sarah Vega, sorry. Anyway, gave her last meal. It went to die, and somebody said, "Give it to me, brother." Boss man, what are you talking about? I tell you that is the last word, and I must give it to you. Well, okay, so it worked for her. The philosophy, but let me give you a practical example as well, would be lonely. I feel alone. I am lonely. I'm shut out here. COVID make it even worse. I don't get that. I'm not talking to anybody. Reach out. Whether WhatsApp, telephone call, whatever. Reach out to somebody. So that's the idea. The idea is, if I am lonely and need companionship, well, let me find somebody who's in a similar state. And what would that mean? Then, of course, we no longer, because we have this connection. So that's the idea. The idea is to look out, whatever it is missing. Let us say you're in a relationship and you feel that your spouse or your partner or your family member is not providing you with what it is that you want. You set about it. Make it a point of duty on your part to provide it. You set out to provide exactly what it is that you feel that you're not getting. And by doing that, you actually will resolve the issue. At least the trajectory will be in the right direction. Yeah. So, sounds crazy, but seek to look at those gaps that you have and try to see if you can fill it for someone else. And as it says here, it need not be a grand plan. Important thing is that you reach out, and what does then, it also shifts the focus. Then you're not getting caught up in your state, your lack. Instead of looking at your lack, you are now in a position where you are an enabler. You are a provider. It's a completely different sense then, different experience that you have when you move from, if you want to call it suffering, from being denied to being a provider, being an enabler. I'd love to get a comment on this because it sounds counterintuitive. It doesn't sound logical, but anybody? And you can, in fact, poo-poo it, say that it's nonsense. I'm open to that. Any thoughts on this?
There's a quick one, Brother Smith.
Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
The other day, I felt a boy, like nobody touching base with me. And I have a orchid plant that I got for my birthday. And I took a picture of the bloom and sent it out to so many persons, just wishing them to be radiant, to be great. I didn't get response from everybody, but I can tell you my day changed. The number of persons who responded and saying, thank you, it's wonderful, wow, where did you get this? It just changed. So the point that you're making, sometimes to get people into your space is just to reach out first. Sometimes we're waiting for people to reach out to us. Probably we can just break the cycle by reaching out first. And that's my recommendation to those of us who probably sometimes going to feel out and feel like nobody's there for us. Let's try and find some people that we would like to call us and call them, or would like to reach out to us and reach out to them and see how that works.
Yeah, so thank you. But let us expand the concept and just look at it and to see. Let us say you're doing a business, right? And there are certain areas that you do not have a skill in. So that's a lack, right? You don't have skills in these particular areas. If you're recruiting, or if you want to decide that you want to have partners, aren't you going to find people that would fill that gap? You're not necessarily going to look for areas that you have the strength. And that's basically what we're saying, is that you want to reach out and fill the void by looking out for skill sets, looking out for areas that you want to fill the gap. And the key, though, is to be on the move, doing something about it rather than sit down daily bemoaning the absence. Take steps to fix it, right? So offer support to others. The more you give, the scriptures are dead right as usual, more blessed to give than to receive. Right? Spend the time focusing on being helpful to others. You will be surprised at how it pays off. And it's not, I don't want it to sound transactional. That, okay, fine, I'm going to send out a picture of my orchid and I want to count, do the math to work out how much I get back from it. It's not that. It's just basically, I want to support. I want to empower. I'm working on my 3 E's, which is to educate, enable, and empower. And so basically, if I can help to educate some people, that'd be great. If I can empower, whether it is through whatever means, and then eventually, I also want to be able to enable, which would be then more like your financial contributions and so on. But basically, that is the idea. The focus is, if you can reach out, if you can impact others, life is going to be more meaningful for you. You're going to get more from life, because let me share, it's also a sense of being relied on. Let us say you put yourself out and you are providing support, or you're providing information, etc. The knowledge that others are benefiting, but not just others are benefiting, but that others are actually depending, others are actually looking forward to you. You're providing this, whatever it is that you're doing. You don't see the meaning of that. That means that adds value. You are valuable. What does that mean mentally, psychologically? when instead of being moping and feeling that I'm not worthy, I don't, nobody cares, or I'm just not good enough, etc. Moving from that space to a space where, yeah, people are looking forward to it. People are, people value what it is that I'm offering. Yes. Whoa. By the way, that call that you made for me, whoa, you wouldn't understand how it impacted. Yes. Why? What difference does it make to my experience then when those things come back to me in terms of value? Any thought? Is this something that we can do? That's not costly. It's not everybody can do it. Where we can actually add value, get more from life by just reaching out in whatever way, making ourselves available, whether it is a simple call, whether it is providing services, whatever it is. That's the look outside now. The look outside is to say, I am not going to be bogged down with my worries. I am not going to be bogged down with my problems. I am going to look to make a difference for others. I am going to add value in the lives of others, whether they are family, spouse, friend, otherwise. Any comment on that? He says, amen. Okay. Anybody? You can mic up. No? All right. Let's move forward. So we actually might actually get through this. So this is the third plank of our 3-step plan. All right. Thanks, Fion. So that note, I would just give her an example here from church, right? So we have some reached out and we have some young people, number of young persons. Some of them were not in high school yet or whatever, but they were struggling badly in terms academically. And so the concept was, okay, fine, let us work to help them academically. And the situation evolved where people committed, sisters committed to set up serious training on a Saturday, where they went, brought them and tried to help them to move forward. Just think about the value added there, where you could in fact be pulling somebody from a career that's not fulfilling, etc., to maybe, having another neurosurgeon or astronaut or whatever. I was saying to you that the value of that experience, to know that you are actually changing lives for the better. That brings a whole heap more from life, because not only are you living your life as such, but you are also, in a sense, experiencing your own existence through what it is that you are injecting into somebody else. That's the kind of thing that I want us to look at when we're talking about getting more from life. So yes, finances are important and so on, but it's not just that. It is really just, how can we make the planet better? And how can we make others better? And how can we then, through that, get more for ourselves. All right, so all of this is just talk until we do something. And so the basic approach to getting more from life is to take some action. If we leave here and we never do anything, we're just going to be, with the first slide that we had about each day is just changing the calendar to another day. It's the same old, same old, same old. We need to start. And I'm suggesting that we can start by sowing some seeds, right? And the first seed that we sowed was the seed of self-examination, what it is. Yes, go ahead, please. I've been begging you to speak. Go ahead, Sherry.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Smith, I'm here listening. You mentioned, give somebody what you are even lacking, and you mentioned adding value. One of the things I tell people, for me, is that my life, I want to do that, add value to person's life. We can, for example, I might have a very bad day, something might not happen, something might not work out. But one of the things, especially, which is my strength, is let's say I see somebody who's not okay. You see, where I may have my problem, and I go and encourage somebody and listen to them, trust me, even though my thing might not be solved, I feel fulfilled just, listen to the person, encouraging them. It's like for that day, yes, I may accomplish something. My issue that there, but at least I listed somebody issue or give an encouragement, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And as you said, it cannot just be about money. And where I work, there are people coming with all sorts of different things, and I've sat at my desk and had persons. I remember this lady came one day to sit at my desk. All I was supposed to do is to take the lady's personal stuff, information, and go and retrieve a record for her. And it's like when she sat at my desk and I look at her face and I could see the fresh to her hair. I saw a fresh cut on her face. The person that said I don't have to know it to ask anything, but for some reason I feel like asking her. By the time I went and retrieved a record and got back to my desk, the lady looked at me and said, "There's something about you." She just started spilling out what was going on with her and stuff, and you know what I mean? And I was able to speak and also refer her to a counselor. And those days, I may feel fulfilled. You know what I mean? Because there are different ways. It's not, and when I think about my job, it's not just about money. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, it's adding value, as you mentioned, helping somebody, encouraging somebody. Fulfillment come. Yeah, that's my part.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Really important. Yeah, and you add value. And you get more from life that way because there's meaning to what it is that you're doing. That's key. All right. So, go some more chats. Come in here. Okay. Kelly said, well done, Sherry. You love that. Yep. Yeah, open your eyes, and open your heart. So the self-examination we did. We also talked about sowing the seed by reaching out to others, which is where we are now. And we need to support others. Right? And then being actively engaged. Yeah, there's a discussion about, people coming to work and they're not engaged. And it's like, well, I've been studying it now for a number of years since the studies came out. And the companies are spending a fortune to try to engage the employees. And there's a question that we have to ask, is who is it hurting? If you go to work and you just go through the motions every day, what are you doing to your self-esteem? What are you doing to yourself? Is that experience positive? Why should the company be spending all of this thing to get you engaged? Why can't you do differently? Right? So, and I can't remember the person, but it will come back in a little while. He drew the example of 2 airline stewardesses. Yes? Same job, same flight, same everything, all the training, everything. Yes? One of them goes through the flight and can't wait until the plane lands to just go home and be miserable. And the other one is, oh my gosh, bubbly. Oh, really enjoying it. What's the difference? Same circumstances, actually on the same flight, same everything, same pace, same everything. One of them decides that, yeah, I'm not going to just live a miserable life. Every day I'm going to come and do this. I can enjoy myself. And you can see it. I mean, those of you who fly, you can see the difference in terms of flight crews. And even within the flight crew, individuals who behave differently. And it's the same thing with customer service. Sometimes, you hear, how may I help you? But believe me, the word is ask me something if you're bad. That's what you hear based on the behavior. And so it's a question of, as we go through life and we're not getting what it is that we want, can we mentally, psychologically change and make a difference? In other words, tell a different story to yourself. Write a different script to yourself. Right? So Valda's saying, all right, so it looks like, okay. Valda's saying, what about if you're having a downtime and don't want to talk to anyone? Yeah, that can happen as well. But if your downtime is every day, all your waking hours, then that's a crisis. But of course, and I think we can own up to that. One of the things that we keep talking about is that own the feeling. Don't deny it. If you really are in a space where you would prefer not to speak right now, then share it. Share it with the individuals and say, hey, give me a space, just right now, I'm sort of working through some stuff here. But then when, that little time goes, then you can go back and reach out and say, hey, all right, I know you wanted to share with me. Can we talk about this now? I think that's reasonable, that we should allow space and allow people to have their, have some space. But you can't have space all the time. At some point in time, you must be open to dialogue. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question. So the last point, going to wrap up in, allow some time for questions and so on, for like another 5 or 10 minutes, because I know it's 8. All right. So what fruits are available if you take responsibility for your own situation? That's the key now. And what this number 5 is about, really, it is about looking at another destination. One of the keys that we talk about is that if I am here, and they talk about look up, look out, look at what is you would desire. What would be your ideal? And then work back from that. Once you start to move your horizons, once you start to look at things from another perspective, that's the start. And if you can see the value, see the benefits of being there, that new life. One of the things we talk about is that, if you want to call it daydreaming, is that visualization, where you can sit with your eyes closed and run the movies of your mind, where you actually see yourself in a different environment, see yourself in this new situation, in these new experiences. And from that, start to work backwards now. If this experience were to be real, if I were to be able to experience this, what is it that would have to be different from what is happening now? And if you go step by step backwards, you can start to see areas in which you can take action. So that's basically the strategy that we would want to look at. So anybody has any more focus, compass as to a trajectory that they might want to take, a direction in which they might see now that I should move in order to get more from life? Is there something from our discourse that would help you to better engineer your experiences so that you actually get more from life. This is a sharing question and answer takeaway time where the mics are open and up to you to either question or share. Anybody, please add. Question, comment, suggestion. Is there any value that has been added? So I'm a guinea pig. Let me tell you what has happened to me in this session. So normally in these kinds of when you're doing this, you prepare, etc. You want, audience. You want 20 people and whatever it is. What I got from this was that I felt more engaged. I felt, something. These people came and wanted to share, etc. Be even more focused and insightful than if you had 500. That's one of the things that I'm taking away from this. And that's where I am now. I feel, that I've I don't know, laid a platform that would cause people to reflect and could make a difference. And so that experience has been great for me. Yeah. All right, so here are some thoughts now. Fayon is saying, thanks for the session. Part about looking inside really spoke to me. Yep, to start there. Raquel's kind of saying, thanks for an informative session. Have to run. Great rest of the evening. Well done. Thank you. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, mic open, chat open. If you have any questions, maybe something that we haven't shared, discussed on in terms of getting more from life. Maybe this is not the approach that you wanted. Please share. We will have another NAV Live session on the 17th of July. So the theme that we're looking at is planning for success. So we will have a different approach on the 17th, where we try to look at how can we help people to navigate life in a way that they get more from life. So Sister Smith is saying, her takeaway is aligned to Proverbs 11:25. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Brilliant. Thank you, sister. Yeah. That's a key takeaway, that some of the action we can actually get more by giving more. That's the key. Move from outside of yourself. Well, it goes back to the scriptures again, self-denial. Yeah? The more we are not, yes, I know I started out by saying look inside, but the looking inside is not necessarily to say stay inside or to, be totally focused inside. It is really to understand yourself. You have to understand yourself first before you can actually give yourself. So that was it. But yeah, the whole thing is about connecting. All right.
Mrs. Smith, can I see the slide for look inside, but they come on late? While you go continue talking, let me see the look inside slide, please.
Oh.
Thank you. While you continue talking. Thanks.
I'm not going to continue talking. All right. So the look inside
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yes. Was
Oh, you
first of
have,
all, you saw this one?
no, I came on late. I didn't see. Only I came on when you had strength. That missed a lot. Moment for introspection. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so find out about these things, but remember that the entire thing
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I
on the,
can
on
I'm
the
gonna
slide.
find it.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I'm gonna take, hold on, let me take 2 pictures until I go find it. You want to look over this now. Until you guys post it. All right, you can go to the next one, please.
Okay.
I will set the pictures. Go, you can start to the next one. Let me set the pictures until I go on the sides.
Okay, good.
Yep, can go again. Which was the inside one? Is the next one?
Wonders of technology.
All right. What was the next one? Oh, the inside. Me now want to take a bit of time. Yes. All right. Inside. Thank you.
All right. So these sessions are brought to you with the compliments of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. Thank you for attending. We worship tomorrow at 77 Red Hills Road. We have more capacity now, so you could just call one of these numbers. Maybe we'll be able to accommodate you. We should be able to. But you're also able to worship online with us at the same link that you used today. And we worship. Worship is from 9 to 10:30. This Bible class is going to change now. It's going to be actually closer to 10:35 in the morning. So let us say 10:45 at the latest. So that's going to change. And then midweek Bible class is Tuesdays at 6:30, again using the very same link. All right. And this is our website. A lot of the content is available there. Not sure if I have anything else. Right, here we go. Great. So this is where you would actually get the recordings, standrewchurchofchrist.org/media or YouTube. That information is there. And please join us. Thanks again. Appreciate it. And we are done.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
You're welcome. Thanks for being a faithful follower.
You're welcome. I always like doing this. It's more than 1 year now, you know?
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah, it was last year, February.
Oh, it's more than that because we used to do it before COVID.
Yeah.